Hi everybody, Chuck here again. In this second video that we're going to go through here, really want to talk about strategy and approach to take in the simulation. One of the challenges, of course, we always wrestle with as learners is we don't know what we don't know. And until what we know changes, then we change, of course. But oftentimes, myself included, we need a little bit of a kickstart to help us go here. And that's really what I want to tackle here. So let me share the screen and bring up a whiteboard for us to work with here. And I'll come over here. So just using from OneNote, a whiteboard, the challenge becomes, well, golly, Chuck, I get what you're saying in the situation. Where do I start? And I think one of the things you start with first as a team is you decide on what your strategy is in two areas. First, what's your supply chain business strategy going to be? Are you going after low cost? Are you going after differentiation in terms of quality, responsiveness, or what? But where's your north on the compass? The other strategy to think about is there's four of you on a team. You all have access to every single decision. So you got to figure out as a team how you're going to work together as well, because otherwise you'll be stepping on each other's toes and making things tough. So you've got to learn to collaborate and work together, and you've got to figure out what's going to be our strategy for doing that. Now, once you dive into the simulation, I'm always a big fan first of going into the financials and identify things that make you go, got to do something different, got to check this out, whatever. But once you identify those, don't make any decisions yet. Okay, hang on to them. And then look at your reports at the same time, because they're going to have things that you're going to identify that you're going to want to fix or change or whatever. Okay, but again, for number two, don't make any changes, but hold them. So you've got your north on the compass, you've identified kind of context and situations. Number four for me is to now start with our decisions from maybe, well, you can really start anywhere, but let's say you decide to start at forecast and go to procurement next, and then finally manufacturing. Look at your decisions that are available to you and make them in the context of that decision has to align with and support the strategy in number one. And with that, fold in your findings at the same time to fine tune your decision. Okay. And that's really the process that I want you to look at as you're going through making decisions. Force yourself to know where you're going, number one. Number two, what's the situation today? Number three, make sure I see operational situations as well. And then number four, start working through my decisions, blend in my finding, and always keep an eye out for I want to align with and support my strategy. So that's a play standpoint. Um, we're going to give you some additional documents to work with as well to kind of help you work your way through this. One of those you'll see here, you'll get this from your professor, is, kind of a quick guide. I definitely want to encourage you. In fact, you know what? I would even make this as a discussion point too. Maybe even step one half, go back and look through all the information given in the manual. There's lots of teaching in there. There's a lot of math help in there. That's really going to help you in the process there. And then we also have a book that you got, which is kind of a how-to for supply chain. Maybe consider reading those to help you figure out, things like what is my strategy in that. So you could even go back and add that in as an optional first couple steps. But the documents we're going to send you is number one, kind of this quick guide. Here's some of the foundational truths in any supply chain, let alone just in Flexee. Here's some tips that on things that it's real easy to forget about in the rush of doing the simulation, as well as trade-offs. And trade-offs are important because it's kind of like if I do A, then I'm going to impact B and C, and maybe even a D and E if I'm not careful. So we try to identify some of those tips and trade-offs and things not to forget about. The other thing we're going to have for you as well, you'll typically, as you play around, typically a team is asked to assess what they did and why. This is a process I've always used over time, to consider. So let's remember what our strategy is, what decisions did we make, and why did we do it? Did the income go up and down because of those decisions? And then review each one to build the cause and effect, as well as keep an eye out for things like, well, did I forecast enough? Did I buy enough? Did I manufacture enough? Or too little or too much? Because we really want to test to see if we're in alignment with our strategy. And then finally going up to the dashboard above your decisions and reviewing some of the key performance indicators. And then finally, that should give you a chance to fully understand, explain what you did and why as part of your assignments, and then think about what you want to do next time. And again, the idea is to be consistent with the strategy. So the whole idea behind this is to give you some ideas between here at the end of the round, as well as here at the beginning of the round or the quarter where you're at, and how do we go about doing things here? Okay, so hopefully that helps you, and we'll see you into some of the specific decisions now.